Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Ilham Azir bin Abdul Ghani. This is my presentation for SMA 2033 Excell assignment. The assignment has two parts, which is question number one is a financial mathematics problem. Amir and Sarah take out a 300,000 home loan over 30 years at 4.5% effective annual interest with a 6-month repayment holiday. An interest-only period until the end of year three, and then equal monthly installments. I had to find the installment amount, build the full amortization schedule, and then work out the shortest possible loan term if they make maximum allowed extra repayment each year. Question number two is a capital budgeting problem. Comparing two projects, Seri and Bakavali, using IRR, NPV, and payback period to recommend which one of the company should invest in. I built the whole model in Excel using formula only. So let's see. I started with an input step so all my assumptions sit in one place. Principles near the effective annual rate and the loan scheme milestone like the 6 month holiday and the month 36 cut off for the interest only. Every other sheet pulls from these cells, so if I can change an input, the whole model updates. One thing worth explaining, the loan rate is quoted as 4.5% effective per annum, but payments are monthly, so I converted it to an equivalent monthly rate using 1 plus annual rate, power of 1 divided by 12 and minus 1. That gives the true monthly compounding rate consistent with the annual effective rate. Because there's no principal repayment during the holiday or the interest only period, the balance actually grows during the 6 months holiday, compounding at the monthly rate and then stays flat for the next 30 months while only interest is paid. So the balance at month 36 is simply the principal compounded for 6 months. That gives roughly 300,000 seats and 676 outstanding when the amortization phase begins. Then I use the standard loan annuity formula to solve for the fixed monthly installment over the remaining 324 months, which gives an installments of about 1,620 ringgit point 83 cents. That's my answer to part 1. I want to flag one design decision. I calculated the month 36 balance directly with that closed form formula rather than pulling it from the amortization schedule itself. That's because the schedule needs the installment amount to compute laterals. So pulling the balance from the schedule and then using it to compute the installment would have created a circular reference in Excel. Calculating it independently keeps the logic clean. Let's move to the base amortization tab. This tab is the full 360 month schedule. Each row has the month, the year, the current phase, holiday, interest only or amortization work out with a nested IF based on the input. Then beginning balance, interest accrued, payment, and ending balance. All as formulas referencing the row above and the input tab. You can see the payment column switches automatically zero during the holiday. Interest only for month 7 to 36 and then fixed installment from month 37 onwards. Let's move to the base amortization tab. This tab is the full 360 month schedule. Each row has the month, the year, the current phase, holiday, interest only or amortization work out with a nested IF based on the input. Then beginning balance, interest accrued, payment, and ending balance. All as formulas referencing the row. Next one is accelerated schedule tab. This tab answer the accelerated payoff. Structurally, it's the same schedule, but I added an extra repayment column each year in the first month of that year. From year 2 onward, the formula checks whether an extra repayment applies and caps it at 10% of the balance at the start of that year. Using minimum and max so it never overpays or goes negative. The ending balance formula is wrapped in max until zero. So once the loan is paid off, the balance simply stays at zero for the rest of the sheet instead of going negative. To find the actual minimum term, I use index my per match to find the first month where the ending balance hits zero. That's the safe terminating logic that gives me the answer without hard coding it. For question number 2, I kept the given cash flows on their own tab, then built an analysis tab that discounts each year's cash flow at the 4.5% target rate. Calculates cumulative present value for the payback period and use Excel and cumulative PV formulas for NPV and payback. The final summary tab pulls all three metrics together side by side for both project and shows which project wins on each criterion. If I change the effective annual rate in the inputs tab, let's say from 4.5% to 5%, watch what happens. The monthly rate updates. The month 36 balance changes slightly because it compounds at a different rate. The installments recalculates and the entire amortization schedule and the accelerated payoff term update instantly. Similarly, if the case study had allowed, say, a 50% annual repayment cap instead of 10%, it will just change that one input cell and the accelerated schedule tab would recompute that extra repayments and the payoff month automatically. So the reason this works is that every phase of the loan, the holiday, the interest only period, the amortization and the extra repayment is driven by logical IF conditions comparing the current month against the input cells, not by fixed raw numbers. So the model isn't just accurate for the numbers in this specific case study. It would still work correctly if the tenure, the rate or the repayment holiday length were different. For question number two, if the target rate of return change, the NPV and payback period would update automatically since they both reference the target rate cell. IRR is unaffected by target rate because it's the break-even rate for each project's own cash flow. That's actually an important point I come back into in my conclusion. So for the summary, this is a classic conflict between IRR and NPV. Pakavali wins on IRR and payback because it's a smaller, faster recovering investment with a higher percentage return. But Seri wins on NPV because even though its rate of return is a little lower, it's a larger investment that generates more total value in ringgit terms. Since NPV directly measures the absolute increase in shareholder wealth in RM and doesn't have the reinvestment rate or project scale issues that IRR can have when comparing mutually exclusive projects of different size, my recommendation is that the corporation should choose Project Seri because it creates more value overall. That said, if the company is cash constrained or prioritize a faster return of capital, Bakavali would be the more attractive choice. So the final decision does depend on management's own priorities and repeat. That's all from me. Thank you.